The Tigers each and every week here at the Tigers table. Want to thank Jackie and the entire staff here at the Tigers table for all they do for us each and every week. My partner in crime, Noah Doty, for all he does for myself, YSN, and of course Tiger Nation. Proud to be joined by the head ball coach, Coach Sean Guerriero. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much. It was a good night
good
tonight.
To see. Yeah, it was a great night. The volleyball girls were excited. They have a big match. So good times at Springfield, obviously. Football's going well. Fall sports also did very well. Had the young man on with golf. He had a very good run. So very good season. For you as the athletic director at Springfield, let's start with that.
Oh, just right now to have Jameek and Kerrigan get up here, and Kerrigan, having her, 1,000 assists, and doing that. The volleyball team's moving in the right direction, and has been, a good solid program. Soccer's doing well, like you said about when you talked about Jackson, he did very well in golf. Football, we're moving in the right direction, I think. So I think it's overall it's been pretty good for Springfield.
So I eat my dinner in South Dakota, and I go and say, let me pop on my iPad and check out my boy and see what the score is. And lo and behold, it's a good football game. And number one, I say that because Minnow Ridge is a good football team. Athletically, got some guys back from injuries. Coach very well. Coach does a great job with them. They hit some big plays. A great opportunity for you guys to see that on film. Is that fair to say, and see some of the things that can happen when people are going to come out and want to play their best game against the team that they feel they have to beat?
Well, we talk about that almost every Monday. That we feel like everybody's going to give us their best shot, and we got to be able to make sure that whether it's traveling, that was our third, away game in a row. Right. So I know right now our boys are excited to be home on Friday. But we got to come out ready to play. And that was just our first half. We didn't execute very well.
I was surprised by it. Usually you come out, talk about the first half. What couldn't get into a rhythm, it seemed like, watching some of it and they did some nice things and a couple big plays and special teams, which you're pretty solid at it from the extra point standpoint, struggled with those a little bit. Talk about that first half and going into halftime, what you talked about.
Well, that's just the little things you talk about, paying attention to details. All those little things can end up adding up, and I felt like we kind of took our turns and having some missed assignments. When we went in at halftime and talked, it was 14-6 at that point. And we're trying to say, what adjustments do I said, offensively, I didn't feel like we had to make too many adjustments. We just got to be more consistent in what we do. And I thought it was very uncharacteristic of our kids to make a couple mistakes. And obviously you want your kids to reach their full potential and be strong. So we kind of just buckle down and say, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to try to put the kids in the best situation as possible. And after halftime, I think our kids responded.
Yeah, I thought they did. A couple big plays. Let's go to the last drive. I talked with Thomas about this and said, from a player standpoint, you're in the huddle. You need points on the board to win the game. Talk to me how the huddle was. And what impresses me about Thomas Shealy and most of your guys, they first gave credit to you and said you were calm and composed, knowing what needed to be done, and that gave them a comfort to know that we practice this, we do this, we're going to get down there and get the points we need to win. From your standpoint, take me through the start of that drive.
I think from a coaching aspect, it's so hard to simulate that at practice.
Yeah.
You mean for us, so when we go
Say
out.
We're down 2, we need to go 75 yards in a minute and a half.
We work our 2-minute drill every Thursday. It's something that we always do. We talk, and the kids, you try to do it and you try to simulate it, but it's never that. Actually, I'll talk about the 2-minute first, but when we get in there, I think we had a nice, return. I think we got the ball on like the 36-yard line. We still had 3 timeouts, which was a bonus, for us. I felt pretty good going into the drive. We always kind of try to give our options where we went into a trip set the first one. We got 2-way go. We were looking to Carson on our right or to the trips. Just got a little bit of pressure, didn't make the right read, and they dropped an interception, which was I guess fortunate enough for us. Came back out, kind of ran a very similar play. Braden stepped up, got to the outside. Isaac did a good job just sitting on the sidelines. We pop it to him, and he probably popped a 30-yard gain, which I think then it kind of gave our kids some confidence to say, okay, let's go and do this. We got out of bounds. Again, I think we went into a situation where we got the ball out quick, caught it. We fumbled. We picked it up. It was a 2-yard gain. Had another incompletion. The ball was batted down. Then next thing you know, it's
3rd and goal, wasn't it?
No, this was actually before. It was 3rd and 8.
And you hit another big one.
No, we ended up coming back. It was actually 4th and 7.
I think it was.
And we ended up calling a play. Carson made a nice catch on the sideline, took it up, and got the first down.
That's right.
Got the ball out quick again, and then we went to spike the ball, which is something we do every Thursday. We flinched. We got a penalty. Looking at, we had one timeout left at that. I think the clock was down to 26 seconds. And when they set the ball, the clock goes. So I wasn't in a real hurry. I kind of got a quick look of the formation we were in, how they aligned. Felt like we had a play to go to, and Carson on a nice little speed out and ended up doing it. But going through that, again, you try to simulate that stuff, and it's so hard to end up putting the pressure. And then I felt like even Monday, we usually go through the scouting report top, and I went back with our kids and just went through that drive. And we talked a little bit more about spacing. I felt like we weren't at the correct depths of whether you want to, the 3-layer routes. Right. We weren't there. So that's something for us to be able to learn off of. Obviously,
and
we
see
ended
it.
up. Yeah.
And actually visualize it. It looks different to them in practice, like you said, but to watch film and see it, now you see it. But I thought, Sean, the protection was pretty good. For a drive when you know that they got to come after you and get some heat. I thought that was big, and you get a big victory, and you head to week 9 now, and 2 home games. Those are exciting times. 2 big rivalries. Case and Thomas both talked about it. McDonald's a good football team. Coach Williams, we all know him as a good football coach. They're back to the wing tee, so Kaysen and Thomas are all pumped up. This is their type of football game to play in a phone booth and see who's going to do those things. Talk about McDonald and some of the things the challenges that they present.
Well, just seeing with Coach Williams. Actually, a long time ago, I did my student teaching with Dan.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a relationship there. He's a good coach. We went back to the wing tee this year, which I definitely think. Coach Williams does a great job of that. So we kind of talked. Coach Slipek talked about that. It's going to be an old school, ITCL type match when you up seeing that. So seeing the wing tee and seeing how they play defense, they're huge up front. They got a lot of guys that are up there that are big, and they're going to get movement. So we're going to have to make sure that we're assignment sound, and always with the wing tee. They're very similar to the Geneva School.
Right. You can break one if one misread or one non-fit. It's
with that too, they're going to keep continuing. They get 3-yard gain, 4-yard gain, 3, and then they eat up clock, and then they get you out of your game plan. So I think it's going to be a great challenge for our defense. I do think they throw the ball. This could be one of the better, I think, passing attacks that Dan has. They have a great quarterback. They got good skilled kids that can catch the ball and they get open. So it's going to be a great challenge for our defense. And again, I give hats off to Coach Williams. Defensively, they're big up front. Movement-wise, it's going to be hard to.
Yeah, it's going to be a physical football game.
To move those kids around. So, like I said, we got to just be assignment sound. We got to be able to make sure that we get the ball out quick when we do pass, and we got to run downhill. And hopefully, we'll be able to get our athletes in some space and make some big plays and put some points on the board.
Yeah, it's going to be a great game, no doubt. Friday night, come on down to Tiger Stadium. Should be a good one. Your key, some of the things you think are key to winning this football. With turnovers, obviously. I talked with Thomas. Penalties, you got to eliminate some of those penalties. What are some other keys to get a big victory Friday night?
I think for us, if we can get negative plays or get them off track, I think
is that
it's
hard to do
big
against an offense like that?
Oh my God, because you
want to make a negative, but if you make a wrong route, it's trouble for everybody else.
You end up saying that, but you got your defense has to be to stop the belly, to stop the jet, to stop the play action. You got to make sure. We always talk about when you see too much, you're not seeing it all. So we just got to make sure that our guys are trying to stop the belly, and those guys can't be trying to stop the jet sweep. So we've got to be a little bit unselfish this week and make sure we're doing our own job and be able to make sure that what our fits are to stop what, because they can get you and they could definitely pop a big play on us. So it's just going to be for our kids and our defense. We just got to try to get them off track, and I think hopefully it'll make them feel uncomfortable.
Well, it's going to be a great game. We'll have it for you Friday night. If you cannot make it down to Tiger Stadium, check us out on YSN, no doubt. Wish you nothing but the best. It was a great night here to have the volleyball girls on as they prepare for a tournament match. Obviously, had some do-overs with Kaysen and Thomas and some of these seniors. I said it to a lot of fans here. Next week, hopefully, Tigers get a big win next week. But I want to see this place packed for a group of seniors that's played a lot of football for Springfield and represents this community well. For them to play senior week, their final home game. But let's take care of business and hopefully get a good win against Dan Williams is one of my favorite guys as a coach, as a person. You said it. They'll be prepared. They're going to come to play. it'll be a great environment. But I wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you very much.
All right,
Appreciate
brother.
it, Steve.
Thanks.
Thanks for doing this. Appreciate it.